So welcome everybody to this session that's touring intentionally equitable hospitality. And I'll just introduce myself and then give it to Irene and Dr. Maha to just also introduce themselves, though we know that we're kind of familiar, but in case. My name is Yasser and I'm a student in the American University in Cairo. I study English comparative literature, and also I do education classes as a part of my minor studies in addition to linguistics. My interest is also in the idea of assessment, inclusivity, and disability studies. I have a lot of, these things that kind of complement each other as all the humanities and social sciences do. Yeah, so I'm gonna give the floor to either Irene or Dr. Maha to just introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I think I've met everyone at one point. My name is Irene from Kenya. I am a facilitator. I'm also associated with quite a number of spaces, the Emerge Africa Network. Maha was kind enough and the other team to invite me to MyFest. So I've been in MyFest for this is the second year, so I'm so happy. And what I do is I just make people feel welcome in any space that they are in. So that's what I think I do best. Thank you, and we get to know each other more. Over to you, Maha.
And I'm Maha. I'm at the American University in Cairo. I work at the Center for Learning and Teaching there, and I'm one of the co-organizers of MyFest and a co-facilitator of Equity Unbound, which is organizing MyFest. Rissa is also here, and even though we promised we wouldn't burden her with specific facilitation, I'd still like her to introduce herself as well.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Clarissa Sorensen-Unruh, and I'm happy. I'm at, well, before I say I'm happy to step in wherever. And I am at Central New Mexico Community College in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And apparently I need more tea. Thanks, y'all, for being here. It's amazing.
That's so warm, like the joy from people's voice. So we love to start our own IEH and all generally MyFest sessions with how are you feeling today? So let us know in the chat. Let us know in the chat what are you feeling, how are you feeling today, and where are you joining us from? And generally, what do you hope to gain from this session and each and every thought that you have? Let us know.
Each and every thought.
Yeah, it's like we welcome everybody, so it's just we want everybody to feel included and welcome. That's part of our intention, right? I'm gonna pause for a second, so give everybody a moment to drop.
We'll pick up the feelings in the chat, Yasser.
I remember the way you said.
Yes, feelings in the chat.
So Maha is feeling excited to hear everyone's stories. I think we'll be sharing quite a number of stories. Bridget is joining from Los Angeles and feeling good. It's a lovely morning there. Okay, it's good. We also have Aliyah, who is grateful from Egypt. We have Rissa, who is says my wife is home from a trip. I took a walk with her, and the dog and things are feeling way normal, and I'm overjoyed about it. Oh, that's nice. Thank you for sharing that. Lee says I'm joining from Cleveland, feeling grateful for what has so far been both a productive and relaxing summer. Oh, you have some summer. I hope it's not too hot. Samuel says I'm feeling joyful, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. And the music city. Yeah, that's what we hear all the time about the music city. Thank you. Hoping to gain something I can use in my new job at Massey's department store. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's always something for everyone. Yasser is feeling very energized from MyFest joy. Yeah, there's always a lot of joy in these spaces. Virginia is from New York, Albany, and is feeling itchy and about curious. We'll try to distract you. We'll try to distract you. Hang in there. Hang in there. Danielle is happy to be in this session. And slightly chilly. Oh, that word I cannot. In Canada, I can't say that word. I tried. Even in school, I couldn't. So I will not murder it now.
Did we miss trails? Did we say trails? You're saying I missed trail, feeling overwhelmed, a little bit of FOMO.
Oh, I think I
You're
missed
almost
that
in
one.
So sorry.
Canada. Yeah, you're almost in Canada and a nice cabin in the woods. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for catching that one. And Carrie's in Bellingham in USA and feeling tired but happy to be here. We are going to we're going to make sure that you feel energized. Okay. So we are happy that you shared with us. Thank you so much. So we are going to move on. Yasser, back to you.
I think there's Shahinaz and also
All
some
right,
food.
Shahinaz is feeling a bit tired, just coming from downtown Vienna, and it's like hot at 25 degrees. Shahinaz, stop it. It's 40 degrees here. Don't
But
complain about 25
Believe me,
degrees.
it's hot. Believe me, it's hot, really, because the humidity is very high.
Okay.
All right.
If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll pick it up.
No
I'll
worries.
pick it up. Yeah, we'll pick it up. Don't worry. Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. So we wanted to ask you this question, and we wanted to basically take it to another level, which is metaphor. So tell us, like, when you think of an equitable meeting, so what is the metaphor that you could think of when it comes to an equitable meeting? So an equitable meeting is like what, in your opinion? I'm gonna, or one of the co-facilitators can put them in the chat, please.
I will try to help again. If I miss, please, Maha, help me out. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the metaphor for me, it's like a juicy mango. So I don't know.
Wow.
You know those mangoes that you put your teeth in and the juice runs. Yeah, something like that. Lisa is a smooth flowing. Yeah. Stream. Wow.
Sam says like a garden.
Like a waterfall for Yasser.
Symphony. I love that. Yes, sir.
Curry says jazz.
Jazz.
Oh, jazz combo. Okay.
Bridget said dance. We're all on the musical metaphors right now.
A dance. Yes. A symphony for Rissa, where every instrument that is online is part. Wow.
Virginia has a picture. What's it a picture of?
Okay. That's
Oh
Harmonious
my God,
orchestra.
this picture. So
This is
Virginia
so
sent a picture.
cool. Oh, this is so
Gosh.
cool.
It's like a lot of dogs, but acting like humans. I think they're dogs. On a tree
Charming,
and
yeah,
jumping up
pleasant.
and down and climbing up, and like they all look really happy, and they're all doing very different things, and they have their different colors. So I'm guessing it's like diversity, but everyone's enjoying themselves. Is that what you mean? Virginia?
Yes.
Oh, it's from a book called Go Dogs Go. Okay. Carrie recognized it. Liz noticed that music and water are prominent. So there's a waterfall and there's canoeing. Oh, trail, like a cookie. That's interesting.
Wow. Nice.
And Alia also said like a harmonious orchestra. Transparency is saying transparency. Is that from the book? Because you're saying, do you like my hat? I do not like your hat. Is that in the Go Dogs Go book?
I like she's referring to the guy at the bottom of the picture, yeah. Like, hey, you know, like what you see.
Yeah, the two dogs talking to each other. I see.
Yeah.
Each time she gets a better hat.
Okay.
As a kid, this was my favorite book. And I can remember being a toddler and spending hours just looking at this and everything going on. It was just
Oh.
like, there's always something new coming up. And so that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh.
I like that. I'm going to keep it open for later.
Oh, that's so
I'm going
cool.
to show it to the kids. Yeah.
I hope we can
All
add it
right.
to the slides, huh?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I'll
we
do
can
that.
add it
I'll
to the
copy this
slides.
question in the chat and then add it
Yeah,
to the
we can add it
slides.
to the slides. That would be really
Sure.
nice. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the next question.
Yeah.
Do
The
you want
next
to read the
question.
question in the chat? No.
Yes, I'll do this one. When someone intends to create an equitable learning space, but I notice that they have failed, it is like, how is it like when someone intends to create an equitable learning space, but I notice that, or you notice that they have failed? It's like, how do you feel when when you expect, I don't know if it's expectations or what, but yeah. Oh, seeing someone try to run through a glass door. Oh, wow. That's that's quite something, yeah. But I noticed that they are failing. It's like, please share what you feel. Hitting a sore note when playing an instrument. Yeah, that can be really tough on our ears. A trial, but never mind. Please do not give up. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, lightning and thunder on my canoe trip after the weather has been announced as being sunny for the whole week. Yeah, that can be something else, huh? Silence. It's like silence. Maha says someone intends to create. Oh, that's your picture.
Sam says like a faculty senate meeting. I don't think they intend to be equitable. I don't know if they
I
do
wonder
this.
what that is actually. Because it's very on.
They're continually failing at whatever it is they're trying to do. We don't know if they're intending to equitable.
Missing the dartboard, Alia. Okay. Yeah.
Virginia, being on a highway, traffic jam and realizing you're in the wrong lane. Yeah, I'm always in the wrong lane. Like I move to the next one, that one slows down.
Okay. For me, it's like a scratch on a chalkboard. I don't know if any one of you has ever heard that. It's quite the sound. Oh, thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your. Carrie says setting up for a fancy dive in a pool, then hitting a belly flop that splashes everyone. Oh.
And Rissa saying it depends, can be painful to watch, or can be like dissonance in instruments and temporarily weird, but kind of cool. It's interesting. I wonder why I think it's kind of cool. I'll talk to you about that later. All right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. So today we are going to just we've had our check-in and our warm-up. Then we are going to have a short reminder of what IEH is, or intentionally equitable hospitality is, and Maha is going to take us through that, and then we are going to interview each other and write a few stories. We are going to write a few stories about our intentional equitable hospitality, and then we'll wrap up. So over to you, Maha, for the next session. Thank you, everyone.
And I saw Bridget as giving the example of like a person who in a hole who keeps digging. That's a really nice one. So we're slightly over time, so we'll just do everything a little bit faster. It should be okay. So I'll do the reminder of intentionally equitable hospitality really, really fast. Is there anyone here who's hearing about this for the very first time ever? Could be Sam, I think, but I'm not sure if everyone else is hearing about it for the first time. I'm going to put a link, if I can actually get this to work. Oh, well, I'll just have the link for the entire slides so that if you want to read those papers later, won't copy the link. If someone can put the link to the slides in the chat, that would help. So there are 3 articles that you could read with more about this, but I'm going to just summarize the basic ideas of intentionally equitable hospitality. Yes, thank you, Irene. And so the idea of intentionally equitable hospitality is basically that everyone who is hosting a learning space is responsible for making sure it's welcoming to everyone. So no matter how you teach, you're still the host of that space. So hospitality is your responsibility. And in order to make it equitable for everyone there, you need to be very intentional about it and to recognize that you may need to change things and you may find things that you didn't expect and you have to adapt to that. And so in order to make sure that you're doing intentionally equitable hospitality, we've figured that it takes about 4 phases. Pre-design is before you even start designing the space, who do you involve in the design? Do you know who is putting the restrictions on you, like an accreditor or quality assurance person, and what are their impositions? Could those impositions possibly privilege certain people over others? How might we dismantle or resist that? So when you design something with diverse people, you're already more likely to create something that meets needs of diverse people. But if you can't design it with more people, then whose pedagogy or philosophies do you read along the way, and how diverse are they? And then in the design itself, can you anticipate or respond to certain inequalities that you expect will happen in the space? Which kind of oppressions can your pedagogy or your approach redress, and what kind of things might you reproduce? And in the moment of facilitation, things will happen that you didn't expect, inequalities. And how do you do intentional adaptation, which Adrienne Marie Brown uses this term, or how can you use your authority in a generous manner? This is what Priya Parker says. We have power as hosts of spaces. And so just saying, oh, okay, let everybody talk without any restrictions or structure doesn't mean there's no power in the room. There's still power between all the participants anyway. And so the host is responsible for making sure that those most marginalized or furthest from justice get heard and more comfortable. And then beyond the moment of facilitation, how can you build an inclusive community equitably beyond that moment? So I hope that this helps sort of explain what we mean by intentionally equitable hospitality, so that when you're in the writing phase, if you sort of if you want a reminder, you can watch this again if it helps. And there's also a video explaining some other aspects of it, and the articles have very brief pieces about it happening in the moment. But I like this quote from Ruha Benjamin's book, Viral Justice. As we work to engender more just and equitable patterns of thought and action, let's be prepared to admit when the changes we make do not turn out as intended. In fact, we may find that we inadvertently spread more of the status quo wrapped in the rhetoric of justice. And so that's really important about the intentionally equitable hospitality. Is like you do the intention and then you check if your intention has worked out in practice or not, because a lot of times you have good intentions and it doesn't work there. We also have this matrix where we're sort of saying that actually sometimes people either have awareness about equity or they don't, and they either take action or they don't. And so sometimes someone isn't even aware that there's inequity and that's why they're not taking action. So it's unintentional inequity. But sometimes you are aware that there's inequity, but you're not taking action. That's intentionally inequitable, which is a very problematic quadrant that we need to think about. There's a lot of systemic reasons why this might be happening, and we sort of need to work with that. And then there are people whose behavior tends to promote equity, even though they're not really aware of what inequities are around them. It's just the way they are. They mean to do something because they think it's a good pedagogy, and it turns out to also be good. And then intentionally equitable is what we have a lot of awareness and we take action. And it's important to recognize that we may be aware of some inequities, but not all inequities. So just because, for example, Yasser would be very aware of certain disabilities, he's not aware of all disabilities. He's not aware of, you may, if you live in a place where there are a lot of, for example, in the US, if you live in a space where there are a lot of Latinx communities, you may know what their needs are, but you may not be aware of what indigenous communities need, for example. And also not every person from a certain marginalized group has the same needs or interests, right? And also, because we're using the term hospitality, that brings back the notion of home and welcoming. And this is Egyptian author Naguib Mahfouz, who says, home is not where you were born. Home is where all your attempts to escape cease. And so if we can create a space, a learning space where people don't want to escape and they want to keep staying with us, that's also an achievement. All right. So in breakout rooms, I'm going to make this 15 minutes instead of 20 minutes. I hope that's okay. So take a little bit less to introduce yourselves in the breakout rooms. And Irene, would you be comfortable creating the breakout rooms, but keeping Liz here in the main room? Or Liz, you can just come back if you end up in a breakout room, because I know she can't unmute. And then we can record the main room with Irene, Yasser, Liz, and me. All right, so ignore the first 5 minutes for introduction and do a quicker introduction. And then if each of you for 5 minutes can share a story of a recent event, or more than one if you have time, where you felt that intentionally equitable hospitality took place or failed to take place. If it helps you, focus on the 4 phases and the 4 quadrants, if that helps sort of explain your story. And just make sure that you take around 5 minutes each, so that each person has time to finish off their story and nobody sort of takes up the entire 16 minutes or so that we send you out. Okay?
I've
All right.
allocated everyone, so I think Rissa will come back. So I'm going to send everyone to
Okay.
the rooms now. Okay.
Okay, does anyone have questions about what they're going to be doing? I'm not going to a breakout room, Irene.
Oh,
So does anyone have any questions before you go? All right. You said Rissa was coming back, right?
yes, I can't go where Rissa is. Huh?
But
Huh?
she has to be there because the room has Leslie, Sam, and
There's
and
nobody
herself.
in it. Has nobody in it.
No,
Yeah.
let me then go and
No,
see.
it's fine. I'm sending her to another room
Oh, okay.
because
But
I
does
put
she
Sam
want
in
to
a room
join?
of 4 by mistake. I don't know.
Okay.
So we're recording this anyway.
So that's
Let's see. I made a mistake and I put there's one room of 4.
no worries.
It's okay. I'll just let them. So you have them there for 16 minutes, Irene?
Did I even? I'm not sure what I did with the minutes. Let me see what
No, you can't.
Okay,
You
it
can't.
doesn't matter. Don't worry.
the breakout rooms actually sometimes just, but yeah.
You know,
Then
I
time.
can
It's fine.
time. Yeah, I can time
It's
here
fine.
just.
It's fine. Yeah, time it on your side, like 15 minutes. So.
Okay.
Okay, so do you have a story in mind? And Liz, if you're able to type something, go ahead and do that.
I want to time the meeting, then I
yeah, so let's share stories since we're here and we're recording. So yes, was there a recent thing that you experienced where you felt there was or wasn't IH? Hey, I can talk about yesterday's session with Danielle Dilks.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things she did that I thought were really, really intentional and really well executed. So the first thing, I came in like 5 minutes late to her session, but I could catch up really quickly. So the first thing she did that I really liked was, I thought it was weird, but then I liked it, that she was explaining to people how to edit Google Slides and how to put speech bubbles and edit them. And I was like, come on, we know how to do this, but actually it's important to explain to people, because if one person doesn't know how to do this, you don't want that person to embarrass themselves and raise their hand and say, I have no idea how to do this. And I've seen people do like Mural and Miro and that kind of thing, and people don't know how to use it. And so it's valuable that she did that. And I also liked the idea of editing the Google Slides together. I mean, first of all, almost everything, she wouldn't tell us what it was. She would give us time to type in the slides first. And then she would start reading out some of the things that people wrote. And the idea of the speech bubbles versus writing in the chat is that you can see everyone's ideas next to each other a little bit more clearly. And then you have the slides and you keep the slides for later. So it's the same resource, everything's in one place, you don't have to go somewhere else. And because there's speech bubbles, not entire slides, it feels like it's okay to say something very small. And then she read every single one out and she engaged with every single idea. And then she invited people to speak out if they wanted. And then it gives you the opportunity to participate anonymously. If you don't want to write your name on the speech bubble, nobody knows who was writing, versus the chat, which is non-anonymous. Liz is saying in the chat, that's great. There's so many different tools and technologies these days. Always feel like the one who doesn't know how to use something. Oh, yeah, there's always something new all the time. So yeah, that's my story.
I think sometimes because, sorry, yes, I
go
think
ahead.
because, I think because we are so conversant with these spaces, we do things very quickly. We actually tend to forget that there are people who struggle with just the little things of getting around some of these tools. So probably just asking people, is everybody comfortable with this in a nice way, might actually be, especially for the upcoming sessions. We just make sure that everybody knows where to find things. So I found that really nice. She even showed me things that I didn't know, and I always use slides. So I was happy about it. Yeah, thank you. Yasser?
So generally speaking, when I feel like the meeting is equitable when there is always alternative. So I love, like, back in the day when we had this, I had my class with Dr. Maha, that we had the idea of, okay, when you want to create something, you want to create it in writing, go ahead. You want to create it in video, go ahead. You want to create it in audio, go ahead. You want to do an infographic and something visual, go ahead. It's always, we want to serve the learning outcome, but not to restrict you as a student from doing something. And that's how everything is equitable. So I employed my talent in writing and creating things. Some people loved creating infographics and Google Slides. Some other people loved creating these, lovely videos that have some pictures going through the video, and when something happens, it's always presented visually. And with that in mind, they also love when someone makes something visual, they do the alternative text. So I feel like, okay, I have the description. And touching on Danielle, she was always describing even the AI generated images. And I could visualize some. I couldn't visualize others, not because of her fault in description, but because of my own horizon. I couldn't visualize what is being said. And that's how I feel like it's my story is like, okay, when an instructor makes something being like has a lot of alternatives, it makes it more welcoming, inclusive, and more smooth. You have a lot of things. If you have a writer's block, you could, okay, this time I'm gonna do something different. I don't have the capability to do something visual. This time I'm gonna do an audio. I'm gonna record myself. Yeah.
One of the things that I've really appreciated lately is that I always remember that I need to explain things more than I used to before. I'm that conscious now that I need to do that because there's always that person, either you know or you don't know, that cannot see what you're seeing. So that's really important. So thank you, Yasser. I think that's great. For me, I got frustrated. I was in a session and we were contributing in the chat and they were not picking up. They were saying, oh, so share in the chat what, this discussion, and then everybody's busy, and there were really good things. And the presenter or the facilitator did not bother to come to the chat, did not bother to read out. And I actually, as personally, I was getting really agitated. And then I realized, hey, come on, just tell the facilitator to read out what they are not. And I realized that sometimes we judge people thinking that they actually know what they're doing, or whatever it is that we are thinking in our minds, or we think that they're as efficient as what we've gone through, but then you just need to tell them, because after that, they were really good with that, yeah?
So you did tell them?
Yes, but
did you tell them privately or out loud?
Private, yeah.
In private,
Privately,
okay.
yes, I did privately.
Yeah,
And
that's nice. So we're
the
calling them in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
no, privately. And I was like, let me see if he takes it properly, he takes it well.
Yeah.
So he picked it up and he said, oh, thank you for telling me, because I'm so caught up in my presentation, I'm not even looking at the chat. So that was
Yeah.
Speaking
One
of
of
this,
Go ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of this online virtual environments, yesterday I was in a meeting, I was just it was a Zoom webinar, but one of the things that I loved is that each blind person who identified themselves as in the renaming part was allowed to unmute in the webinar. So in order to have them participate without going to the Q&A section in Zoom and things like that. So it was kind of equitable that, okay, we're gonna allow you to unmute and participate as like people who are hosts or co-hosts, because you can't, each time you want to participate, you can't go to the Q&A and participate. And someone might not see your question from the hosts and all this. And there was also this lovely thing that happened in the beginning of the meeting. Each one described themselves. So each person said, okay, so I'm wearing this and this and that, and I'm tall, I'm short, I'm sitting on the chair. It was lovely. I felt like, okay, I might not know how this person looks like, but the description gave me a hint of who I'm talking to, like who is this person, how they look like. It might sound very weird. It might not sound as a kind of a factor contributing to equity. So it might not be kind of a factor contributing to equity, but it's a kind of a way of showing respect to people who might feel marginalized in a way of seeing how the person looks like.
Yeah. Can I just read out what Liz
Yeah.
said here? I know you were distracted by that. You sort of paused.
Yeah.
So Liz was saying facilitating in multiple nodes can be really overwhelming. Yeah, that's true. Being guilty of not keeping up with the chat when I've been facilitating online. I think being transparent about that as a facilitator can be helpful, or asking someone to help you with that. Please let me know if there's something I can be doing to enhance, improve your experience with this event. So I think definitely co-facilitating helps. So like over here, when we were doing this, like Yasser was asking the question, Irene was answering. Yasser, are your eyes hurting you?
No, that's fine.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
So we decided Yasser would ask the question, Irene would help read what's in the chat, and then sometimes I would read something that I think Irene missed, because even with two people, even the third person helps. But I think when I'm facilitating alone, I sometimes ask someone from the participants to be my helper. And a lot of times someone will step up and be happy to do that. The other thing though is I always tell people who have trouble keeping up with the chat when they're facilitating is pause, unshow your slides, unscreen share, and just focus on the chat, or I definitely ask someone to help. There's also this tool called, I can't remember what it's called now, Screen Alive or Stream Alive, I think it's called. And it will collect all the questions from the chat for you. It'll curate them. So anyone who has a question mark or what, why, when, where in their comment in the chat, it will curate those for you.
So one part of like about this chat thing. So if I'm facilitating as a blind person, I wouldn't be able to pause the screen share and then go and try even to look at the chat, because of something very, the screen reader looks like operates with some shortcuts, and you have to go from one window to another. So if I'm focusing on the slides part, I have to press a shortcut and I have to go and work.
That's a lot to do. So it's easier if someone else shares your slides for you. Remember that time you didn't tell me to do that, and then we realized it would have been better if I had shared your slides.
So people are coming back, and welcome everybody. Hope you enjoyed your time in the breakout room, and hope you're excited to write something as well. So
okay, let's wait until the next group comes.
Yeah.
Seems like the other groups have more agency. They don't want to come back. But one of them is a group of 4, to be fair. So maybe they didn't have enough time. You know what I'm going to do for the next activity? Is we're going to stay in the main room, and then I'm going to create one breakout room in case people want to chat while they're writing. Some people might like, people don't. So.
Okay.
Hi, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a good chat. If you didn't have enough time, it's okay. We'll create a breakout room during the writing time in case people want to chat during the writing time as well. All right. So, okay. So originally, we're going to have to adapt the timing here. Originally, we were going to do 30 minutes of free writing on this plot, if you're willing to do that, or you can just respond to the fun prompts and just in the slides. I'll show you what I mean. So first of all, this is the plot. if you've never used this before, I'm just going to open it really, really quickly. And basically what we want you to free write about is intentionally equitable hospitality, like stories of intentionally equitable hospitality. So this plot is like a blog that you don't have to have an account to use. So if you just open the site here, do you see the right button? You just click there and you can just start writing. So put the title for it, put your name, start writing in here, just delete this and start writing your own thing. And you can put an image if you like. And then at the very end, it asks for your email address in case you want to go edit it again and you want to see if people comment on it. It's not necessary if this is not what you want to, you don't want to put it in a public place just yet, that's fine. You can just edit the Google Slides. So either just free write about intentionally equitable hospitality. So this is going to be like more like 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Or if you want a little bit of prompting, we have a few prompts here to choose from. Oops, it says reconnecting. You guys hear me? You can hear me, right? So
Yes.
things like writing a 100-word story about a meeting where you felt really welcomed, or a list of situations where intentions to be equitable failed, or something about intentional adaptation, any element of the intentionally equitable hospitality spectrum, right? Or a set of actions in the pre-design phase that can help enhance equity in a space, things like that. So if you want to write in the slides, I'm going to put the link to the slides again in the chat. And you just take a slide, write your name at the top of it, and say, like, this is one that I did from our interview that was happening while everybody was in breakout rooms. There was a session by Danielle Dilks yesterday, and there's another one by her today, by the way. And so this is a real story, and Irene and me and Yasser, actually all of us talked about it, but I'm having trouble writing Yasser's name now. And I just put like bullet points. If you're happy to free write and write something bigger, you can do that. So there's empty slides here, just take one, put your name in and start writing. And so what I think we'll do while we're writing is give you 15 minutes now, but you can also keep writing later. The slides are not going anywhere, right? And then we'll play music in case you'd like to listen to music while you write. I'll create a breakout room, just one breakout room that anyone can move themselves to. Just so if someone wants to chat while they're writing, guys, I'm sorry, it's very noisy here. So it's just a room that anyone can just move
I
themselves
did
to.
one here, so but I'll just adjust the timing.
Oh, well, let me just do mine because it's ready.
Okay.
It has everything that I need.
Okay.
And then I was just gonna say, if you want to ask anything, look, we're here. We'll stop recording because everybody's gonna be quietly writing or in the breakout room chatting about what they're writing. Does anyone have any questions before we start? Everybody have a link to the slides in the chat. It's in the chat anyway. Okay, I'm looking forward to what you guys end up writing. Oh, the last thing I was gonna say, whatever you like. So if you want to put it on the plot, then everyone in the world will be able to read it. If you put it in the slides, you still want to brainstorm or whatever, and you don't want to share it publicly yet, it'll be just us here in the room who can see what's in the slides. And I was just gonna say, in the end, what we could do with this is we could write a collaborative autoethnography about intentionally equitable hospitality, and we could all be authors on that, or we could get your permission. If you don't want to write a big thing, then we could get your permission to use your story in different things that we do later, but we'll decide together, Yani. Everyone who writes something can decide what they want done with theirs. Okay, so I'll open the room. It's just one room. So anybody, if at any point you want to go to a breakout room and chat with others, you can do that, or Irene is going to play some music for us and I'll stop the recording.